marred by eventual collapse, echoes the very history of the community that a group of devoted individuals hoped to memorialize. In the aftermath of this rather contentious meeting, a letter published in the Roswell Daily Record expressed dismay that the memorial project faced such opposition. The author questioned the implications of celebrating the city's legendary association with extraterrestrial contact while ignoring its local African-American heritage. The author wrote, quote, "Why the powers that be would fight a monument to honor the lives and commitment of the families of Blackdom, but approve a project dedicated to the aliens that is worth millions is beyond me," close quote. Nevertheless, the Blackdom Memorial Committee persevered, and just 2 weeks later submitted a formal site request to the mayor's office and city council. With funding secured and a location finally selected, the members of the Blackdom Memorial Committee spent much of the following 3 years discussing strategy for the next steps in the project's development. By August of 2007, the board of directors had expanded to 11 people, and an architectural firm was hired to create a preliminary design for the newly rechristened Blackdom Memorial Gardens complex. Gregory Waits, an architect from a Santa Fe firm, was chosen as the lead designer for the project. On May 19, 2009, Waits submitted his design proposal for Phase 1 of the Blackdom Memorial Gardens. The designs were organized around the 4 migrations that are typically viewed as watershed moments in African American history. The Middle Passage, formed by captivity and extraction from Africa, the formal institutionalization of slavery in the South, the Exoduster movement and Great Migration following the abolition of slavery, and ultimately, the post-World War II period of Black experiences with segregation and civil rights activism. Waits then superimposed these 4 distinct sections over the blueprint of the Blackdom Townsite plat, using barriers to represent the omnipresent effects of the color line. As 2009 drew to a close, the tremors of the Great Recession reached New Mexico. The state legislature, desperate to reduce non-essential spending in the face of drastic austerity measures, sought protracted capital outlay appropriations as a swift and relatively painless option for budget slashing. After all, these coffers contained money set aside for public use, but that had not yet been distributed to the communities and projects for which the funds were originally earmarked. When a new appropriations bill was signed into law in March of 2010, nearly a decade of toil was undone with the stroke of a pen, and the vision shared by those who contributed to the Blackdom Memorial Committee suffered a sudden, heart-rending collapse. Thus, the story of Blackdom comes full circle. The resources that sustained ambitious visions of both the community and memorials abruptly vanished. A community once bursting with opportunity was reduced to rubble. Where a Blackdom settler's modest home once stood, a massive heap of discarded railroad ties and shattered fragments of electrical poles disrupts the flat monotony of the prairie, reeking of oily creosote. Likewise, the land reserved for the memorial complex remains vacant, inundated with weeds and windblown trash, another forlorn testament to failure and bitter disappointment suffered at the hands of inexorable forces. Through physical obliteration and absence, the history of Blackdom remains hidden. Blackdom persists only as an idea, preserved on the stained and tattered town site certificate and within the accounts of individuals who once called Blackdom their home. But weary travelers who exit the shimmering blacktop of Highway 285 and linger beyond the shade of the rusting picnic structures will find themselves rewarded with a fleeting tale of the remarkable community of Blackdom that once prospered in the hazy distance.